Welcome to Armchair Imagineering. Tonight, our friend and host David Gansel uses his vivid imagination to think about what sort of ride should go in a theme park. Theme park fans went wild when at the last D23, Disney announced that Magic Kingdom was finally getting something fans have begged for years, a Villain's Land. And fans were especially abuzz when Josh D'Amaro hinted that the Villain's Land plans were going to be even bigger and better than whatever the original plans were. And then theme park fans were mixed when rumors started to leak about what the actual plans are. And since D'Amaro is chronically online enough that it's theoretically possible he might actually see this video, I honestly wish I had really cool things to pitch here. But the fact is, I personally have never been particularly excited about the idea of a Villain's Land. At least not a Villain's Land in a castle park. Because the villains already kinda have a land. They have Fantasyland. I know, Fantasyland is actually the princess's land, but the villains are pretty major characters in the princess's stories. So the villains have plenty of presence in Fantasyland. They're on the rides, they do meet and greets, they even have their own eateries. What is it we really want out of a Villain's Land beyond that? Like, I guess I get it if you want there to be a space for the villains where they don't have to share the stage with the princesses at all, but I don't know what I would want that to look like. Okay, so as of this recording, which admittedly is a few months before you're seeing it, the rumors are strong that they're doing an Yzma coaster and a Maleficent boat ride, and possibly an Ursula flat ride spinner. Yzma coaster, great, makes sense. Everything we see as a ride in a film should be rideable in a park somewhere if we can get it. Boat ride, not sure why you wouldn't give that to Ursula, but sure, give the big ride to Maleficent. And a tentacle spinner with a villain from a Disney-owned property is certainly not an idea that any other park has ever had. But even if these rides are great, there's no thematic reason they can't just go in Adventureland and Fantasyland, right? There may be a space availability reason, but not a thematic one. What sorts of attractions would actually be proprietary to a Villain's Land that wouldn't just fit into the lands their movies already have a presence in? I guess what some people wanted was an actual dark and scary land, something to respond to Universal's Epic Universe's Darkmore universe. And I've gone on record as approving of Disney making more scary attractions, but you really expect Magic Kingdom to get anything scarier than the Haunted Mansion? This is the park that couldn't handle one terrifying attraction, even though the scariest thing about it was the casting of the pre-show. I suppose the other thing you want is the villains all coming together, collaborating on a big evil plot, a big oops all villains crossover, but that's Fantasmic. We already have Fantasmic. What do we want from the land that we don't get from Fantasmic or Fantasyland? I guess what you don't get from Fantasmic is you want the crossover in ride form. A big e-ticket dark ride or simulator that gives every villain a moment to shine, like Islands of Adventure's Spider-Man ride, or like I'm told the Frankenstein ride in Dark Universe is. I haven't been to Epic Universe yet. Would it be that the villains are all threatening you, or are they recruiting you? Let's go with recruiting, because, again, we want this to not be a Fantasyland ride, and villains threatening you is what happens in Fantasyland rides. So this would be a ride where you're becoming Maleficent's newest henchman, and you're moving through scenes with all the other villains, training you on how to help take over the Magic Kingdom. So, Captain Hook gives you a quick swordplay demonstration, Gaston teaches you a quick lesson in marksmanship, Dr. Facilier teaches you how to summon friends from the other side. Cruella teaches you how to always look stylish when doing evil. You know, that sort of thing. Now, if it's screen-based, there could be a randomization element where you get moments from a few different villains each time, but I'd want at least a few animatronics. Maybe even Maleficent in dragon form, assuming it doesn't set itself on fire. But then something would go wrong, and at the end of the ride, Maleficent would determine that you are, in fact, not worthy of working for her, and she would destroy you. which would be simulated by lightning flashing around you as you go down a drop, and then at the exit station you hear her banishing you and all your belongings from the ride vehicle, never to return. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I don't know if that's the best possible version of the villain's ride, but it would have to be at least at that level, right? It would have to be something that puts you on the side of the villains, not just encountering them. It would have to be something that really justifies this being the land for the villains, not just the lands of the stories the villains shape. Or you could focus on villains who don't really have heroes they go up against. Night on Bald Mountain roller coaster. You could finally build that animatronic Chernobog you never ended up building for your Phantasmic Florida. I mean, if you want really intimidating villains, I won't say no to some Bill Cipher presence in the land somewhere. But really, when it gets right down to it, there's only one thing that I personally want from Villains Land, and that's a big new theater for Villains Unfairly Ever After, so the theater next to Rock and Roller Coaster can be the new forever home for Muppet Vision. I know you've already repurposed a bunch of the animatronics, but you've built duplicates of them before, you can do it again. And really, that's all I have. But I want to hear from you. All of you who were actually excited about the potential of a Villains Land. What were you imagining? What are you expecting? What sorts of things do you think could work in a Villains Land better than in any other land in Magic Kingdom? Let's discuss this all in the comments, and until next time, this is Dave, signing off.